Hi viewers, it's Ket, and welcome to my... Can I just say, holy shit? JaGex. JaGex, you guys have outdone yourselves again. I'm so proud of you. You're finally paying attention to PvP. And this is now suddenly a good idea. Why? PvP's been neglected forever, and you finally decided on this very month, the second month in 2022, February 15th, to release a blog about the PvP arena. Keep in mind, this arena is proposed to replace the duel arena with a new, exciting PvP arena thing to grant you rewards and to propel you to fight one another. Okay, alright, I'm about it. But let's dive a little deeper, shall we? So, I know I'm a little late to the party, but I really just wanted to dive in on this topic once we had a little bit more information. So I spent my days on Twitter, spent my days on Reddit, and I've watched today's live stream where Mod Ash actually joined in and answered some of the questions that the community had to the initial proposal for the PvP arena set to launch in May of this year. Whether or not they keep their word is entirely up to them, but they are telling us in May, confirmed, 3 months from now, we will have this brand new PvP activity. Is it gonna be a flop? I don't know. That's completely up to them too. So apparently, Mod Aiza has been collecting feedback over the last couple days, and I just want to dive into this topic. So enjoy this clip of me playing some LMS, and let's just dive in. All right, just treat this as a podcast because there's gonna be minimal editing. I don't have time for that stuff, but I really wanted to share my opinion, my overall views of this topic, and how it affects obbies. And yeah, I mean, if you guys want to listen to that, if you guys want to just stick this on, just, AFK and chill and get some gains in, fine by me. If you're on a potty break at work and you're just plugging your earphones in, you're listening to my sexy voice. Let's just not go that far. Anyways, so the overview of this arena, right? So what it's going to include, it's going to be a new arena that you can set up a multitude of different categories of how to fight people. Okay. And this, once it comes out, it's going to be located in the clan tab of your game interface. All right. It's going to be like up there with like, next to the clans and the group Iron Man thing, there's going to be like a little section for it, right? We don't know how it's going to work. But essentially, they're going to want you to engage and queue up, essentially, with other players. Now, there's going to be like a ranked 1v1 style. There's going to be a ranked, or like an unranked 1v1. And then there's going to be like a ranked tournament style where players of up to like 64 players or something can enter in some sort of like tournament. And you can also pair up against your friends for just like, an unranked casual game. Here's the thing. They want to give us rewards and incentivize us to play this new game. And first and foremost, unranked duels, so to speak, will not be rewarded. So that's fantastic, right? Because we don't want people boosting these rewards. And we'll get into the rewards a little later, but I just want to just go over the semantics, the overall view of the PvP arena for those of you that are not quite familiar with it and didn't read the blog. So TLDR, leave it to your boy Ket over here to kind of give you an overview, okay? So, you guys are all familiar with those like tournament worlds, right? Where they're separate from your main game account. And that's what they're going to be coding this off of. It's going to be entirely based in a completely different world. And their goal is for you to queue up and find opponents within an interface in game. And while you wait for a fight, you'll be able to continue your activities. And then the game will notify you, hey, you have a fight. You have an opponent now. So hop in this world, right? So you click, you get to a safe spot. We don't know how long it's going to, take, you might time out or whatever. But anyways, you're going to be getting to a safe spot if you're in combat, and you're going to be clicking, let's go. Let's fight my opponent, right? So you're going to be automatically transported into this tournament world where you'll have access to free gear. Okay? So this is not going to use any sort of gear on your main game. So you'll have access to all the best stuff. Okay? More details on that to come, because we really don't know what kind of stuff there is, but I assume it's going to be, your common PvP loadouts and whatnot. Upon arrival, and upon getting with your opponent, you're going to be prompted to pick a primary and a secondary combat style. So JaGex has proposed this sort of primary-secondary thing, which I don't like, and we'll get more info on this later, but pay attention. So, primary style, it's going to be combat triangle, right? So, melee, range, and mage. And if you pick a primary of melee, it's going to have higher... your primary stats are going to have better stats than your secondary stats that you've selected, right? So, you can pick a total of 2. Melee, which your attack and strength will be, heightened to 85 and 95 respectively. Okay. Ranged, if you pick range, your range is going to be 95. And likewise with mage, 95. Okay. Now, your secondary stats, once you pick that, you're going to be picking a melee of 70 attack or 80 strength, a ranged of 80 ranged, or a mage of 80 mage. On top of all this, you're going to have base stats. So whatever you don't pick, you're going to have at least these minimum stats. You're going to have 50 attack, 50 strength, 50 range, 50 magic, 70 defense, 99 prayer, 99 agility, and 99 hit points. So that's going to be up on the screen here. Just kind of view it. It's a little weird. We'll get to this later, though, but you just pick your primary, you pick your secondary. I don't know why people don't want to, bolt rag. So obviously you're going to want to pick ranged on one of these slots. And then depending on how, the gear that you get access to, you're probably going to want to pick magic as your primary because, magic at 95 kind of is good for, vengeance, barrage, etc., etc. Who knows? And these fights, you cannot teleport away from your opponent. These are going to be death matches, kind of like in LMS, where you're paired up against somebody. There's really no way out. And it's going to be in a centralized arena. So there's only going to be so far that you can run around. And the goal is to just win. That's right. You just win. You be the last person standing with some HP. And if you win, your rank will increase and you will get reward points. Okay? These reward points are going to unlock some pretty sexy rewards, and we'll get into the rewards in just a second. So, amongst these, you're going to have the 1v1 tournaments, right? The ranked 1v1s and the unranked 1v1s for your friends. So let's just, now that that's out of the way, it's pretty simple, right? Now, here's my thoughts. Okay? We have AHK still in the game, where there's specific clients, I'm not going to name which, but you're able to press a couple keys, and the client does all the work for you. All the clicking, all the switching, all the specs, you name it. I don't like this. And it doesn't test your skill. And what JaGex is trying to do with this proposal is be completely skill-based, right? This isn't, everybody's going to have the same stats, same loadouts, same access to gear. They really want to test people's skill. Well, with no real checks in AHKing or botting or clienting, whatever you want to call it, or cheating, I don't know how this will work. They haven't really expressed how they're going to check those boxes so that people can safely engage in this minigame without the fear of being paired up with an automatron, transmorphatron, whatever you want to call it, machinery that is non-humanoid that can click 1,000 times and not get sweaty. You know what I mean? Like, that takes real human sweat to be able to work all those crazy clicks in sequence and not mess up and not be, terrified, not be intimidated. That's what it's all about. That's human nature. But anyways, I'm getting so philosophical on this, and I don't need to be. Okay, so that's my thoughts, right? They need some system to check that, okay? But beyond that, it sounds pretty fun. I mean, you get paired up, you get to do what you want to do in the game while you wait for the fight, while it queues you up into some system, and you just get paired up, and then your rank increase, and you get all happy and jittery because you just killed somebody. And that's PvP in a nutshell, right? You just get so happy whenever you kill somebody. Yeah, I do. That's the whole reason to it, right? The whole reason. So it keeps coming. Everybody just keeps coming back to the game because of that feeling. So rewards, yes, rewards. Let's discuss this. So, JaGex in the initial proposal are talking about releasing ornament kits in the reward shop. And these ornament kits are going to be tradable, which I don't like. But hear me out. So these are the currently proposed ornament kits. So we're going to get a Dragon Claws ornament kit. Yay, 60 attack pierce. We're going to get a Heavy Ballista ornament kit. We're going to get an Armadile and a Bandos ornament kit to sort of ornamentate those pieces of armament, okay? And the most exciting thing, yes, obbies, we get some representation, finally! Dragon Warhammer ornament kit. I said it first. Dragon Warhammer ornament kit. Can we say it louder? No, that's too hype. Anyways, these are all going to be tradable as far as we know. I would love that these were untradeable because it would be more prestige about these items, Being able to participate in this sort of arena, if it's a healthy environment, you would kind of want to go for these things. And you'd kind of want these to yourself. You want to feel proud that you got it. That's just my thought, okay? But having them tradable, think about it this way. At least for the first month, 2 or 3 months, we're going to see a lot of bots that are going to migrate from LMS to this new PvP arena. And they're going to use these same scripts that they've been using, these auto prayer switches, these auto gear switchers, and they're going to one-tick your ass, okay? They're going to one-tick your ass without you even seeing coming, without them even sweating. They are automatrons, and I don't like it. I don't like the thought of that. So they need to fix this. Make it untradeable. Make it so that there is no incentive monetarily that you could play this minigame and profit and pay off the bonds that it takes to member these accounts up and play the game. Because, like I said, you could play this on a level 3 because it doesn't use your main game stats. So think about it that way. It's kind of like LMS. So are we just repeating content here? I don't know. And I would like not to. But anyways, let's get on to the rest of the stuff. I believe that these other things on this blog, it's these are non-tradable, okay, which is great. So all the non-tradable things include gear and a couple items. So the items, let's start off with those. It's going to be new blighted sacks. So we're going to see sacks that we can have in our inventory to cast any wave spell or any surge spell. So this is something that's going to save inventory space. It's going to, be something that you want to take deep wildy on your pure and your zerk and your main, your med, whatever you want to call it, in the wilderness, right? That's going to be the main focus, okay? I don't see this being any really beneficial at GEPK at all. But yeah, these are going to be untradeable, folks. So that's cool. I mean, the previous sacks in the game are tradable. So I don't know why they would make the kits tradable. and then make these untradeable. I mean, they're in a generally good direction. I mean, we just need to smooth them over a little bit. Moving on. We have imbue scrolls that are going to be untradeable, folks. And don't cry. Don't cry, because they have said it themselves that these are going to be low-cost imbue scrolls. Great. I've lost a couple B-ring imbues in the past. I'm sure there's plenty of people that would like all of their rings imbued. Their tyrannical, their fucking archer's ring, black mask, fucking Slayer helm, you name it, B-ring especially. You're gonna want your imbues, obbies. You're gonna want your imbues, pures, zerks, mains, what have you. Get them from this activity. It's gonna be quite low, apparently. Okay? Now, let's move on to the exciting part. The equippable rewards. These are gonna be crazy! Crazy! Okay? What we see here, folks, the first proposal is you guys familiar with Barrows Gloves? I am. They're quite OP, right? They're like one of the best equipments in the game. Yeah. They're proposing non-questable Barrows Gloves. Mic drop. I don't know how I feel about this, but I kind of like it. The only caveat to these gloves, because it's called a wristband of the arena. Okay, that's what it's called. It comes in one tier, and the tier is Barrows Gloves. Equivalent stats, Barrows Gloves. These wristbands of the arena are going to be accessible not to 40 defense builds, but no, they're going to drop their requirement to 30 defense. So you ink obbies out there calling all 30 defense builds in the nation without vengeance, of course, you guys are going to have access to some baller ass stats. 12 melee strength, all that crush accuracy. I mean, these are insane, right? So yeah, non-questable Barrows Gloves that you can only use, that's the caveat, you can only use all of the rest of the equipment that I'm going to talk about in PvP situations. So I'm talking clan wars, I'm talking PvP worlds, I'm talking target worlds, I'm talking wilderness. So I don't know if it's going to be where you're going to be able to equip these only in those areas, or if they're just not going to have the stats in those areas. It would be cool if we can wear them, you know, around the main game as fashionscape and whatnot, but that's besides the point. The point is these are coming, and this is quite cool. Let's move on. So Barrows Gloves, number 1. Number 2 is the Centurion Curious. I probably mispronounced that, but it's okay. This Centurion thing it's a chest plate, and guess what it's like? It's like a fighter torso. But you don't have to play Barbarian Assault for this thing. It's the same stats. You still get the melee strength of +4, and you carry on with your day, and you can only use this in PvP situations/areas, right? Kind of freaking cool that you don't get to be forced to play a shitty-ass minigame, or you don't get to be forced to get 175 quest points for a Barrows Gloves, and you get to access to the third. Sorry, I'm just getting so excited. I can't handle myself. Let's move on. So we got Barrows Gloves and a fighter torso. Okay, what's next? You're asking. What's next? We have the Calamity set. This Calamity set is going to be a knockoff of Void. So we're going to have a chest plate. We're going to have legs. And we're going to have a helm. There is no glove slot. So it's a 3-piece top, bottom, and helm. And these are broken up into 3 tiers. So imagine Void, but having 3 tiers and 3 separate, different requirements to be able to access these. So it's not about points or anything. So hear me out. The first tier is the regular old Calamity chestplate and the Calamity breeches. These have very negligible stats. meaning they're about the same efficiency of wearing paper. Okay? They're not going to do shit for you in terms of defense. But paired with a helm, which we're going to discuss the helms in just a bit, that's where we get a little freaky. And I like freaky. Okay? So we have the first tier, right? The Calamity Chest and Breeches. We have the second tier, which is Superior Calamity Chest and Breeches, which is unlocked at 55 defense. Yeah, I don't know why they picked 55 defense, but I kind of like it. They throw this stuff in every now and then for a little meta shift, and that's completely fine. I'm all on board for a 55 defense mid-tier Superior Chest and Breeches, okay? And this is kind of like the same stats of like Adamant, okay? It's not great, but it's not, terrible. And then there is an Elite variant, which is Tier 3. And the Elite variant requires 78 defense to equip, okay? So you get the chest and you get the bottoms, and then you're like, well, what next, right? Okay? Well, let me tell you. We have 3 different helms that you can unlock with your said rewards points with the PvP arena activity. You have a melee helm, you have a range helm, and you have a mage helm. This is crazy, guys. Coupled with the significant helm, okay, we're going to be seeing some major stat increases. So you have to be wearing the full 3-piece set in order to get this bonus, okay? These really have negligible stats all across the board. Even the 55 defense and the 78 defense and all that kind of stuff. So let's start out with the tier 1. It's called Mayoma's Med Helm. So it goes Med Helm, Full Helm, and then a Great Helm, apparently. So the Med Helm, tier 1, it gives a 7.5% increase to your melee accuracy and damage. What? It's kind of like Void. 7.5. So this can be accessed with no stats, has no requirements, nothing. 1 defense peers rejoice. Okay? Not only do you get the 7.5% increase, you also, because this is the combat triangle, you also get a reduction with ranged damage by 5%. So you have to wear the coinciding helm with whatever you're trying to block, but also project your damage with that same helm. So it won't be uncommon that you'll see people with multiple helms switching helms, kind of like what they do with Void, but they'll also be doing it in a defensical tactics, right? Defensical, right? Because if you get hit by a mage, you're going to want to wear the helm that reduces mage damage. Okay? So that was tier 1. Let's go to tier 2 and tier 3. So tier 2, you'll get a plus 10% increased melee accuracy damage. And you'll also get a reduction from range of 7.5%. So it's slightly varying with the reduction. It's kind of cool. Okay, and then the Elite, the tier 3, you're going to get a plus 12.5% increased melee accuracy and damage, and a range damage received reduction by 10%. And that goes across all of the helms, right? So the ranged helm is the same way, the magic helm is the same way. It's the counteractive combat triangle style that it deflects, and it is the respective style that it increases. So yeah, it's the same stats all the way across. It's kind of like Void. It's really cool. We don't know how many rewards points it's going to be, but we do know how it's going to act in PvP. So if you take these items to PvP worlds and you have on the full set, JaGex has concluded that it'll act like a fire cape. It'll act like a piece of broken equipment when you die. So it's not going to go to your gravestone. No. It's going to keep in your inventory, and it's going to drop cash for your opponent. We don't know how much cash. We don't fucking care, right? Because cash is replenishable, and we got loads of that, okay? So we just repair it every time we die, which is quite frequently because we suck, and we move on with our day. and we go out there and we PK. So this is going to up the max hit of every weapon in the game, but specifically obbies. I mean, every obby build is going to get a buff. So we have 1 defense builds, we have 60 defense builds, or 55, I guess, that are going to really benefit from this new armament in PvP scenarios. And we also have that new Torva obby running around, a couple of those guys. And they're going to be rejoicing, as well as the 1 defense, all the way from the bottom to the top, baby, because they're going to get that supreme tier 3 armament. Because there's no strength, there's no attack requirement. It's all just based on defense. So I really do think that this is a huge update for obby tanks, nonetheless, because there's no added attack or strength or range or whatever kind of requirement. You don't need anything like Void. You have to have like 42 in each stat and then like 26 prayer or some shit. Like, this is just based off defense. So I feel like obby tanks are going to become even more significant in those lower combat builds. They're going to be quite unbeatable. But if you have this armor on, you're going to be like a sponge. So that's what I have to say about the armor rewards, which is honestly amazing. We couldn't have asked for a better reward, to be quite honest with you. The main thing is there's 2 other kind of up in the air items that they want to propose. Or 3, sorry. They have 3 items that they want to propose as well, but the kings aren't just quite made out yet. So they're proposing an Amulet of Souls, which has a bomb-ass attack and defense and melee strength stat lineup, okay? It has like +8 strength, +10 in each accuracy stat, and +15 in all the defense stats, and a +5 prayer. Like, this thing is like a fury, to be quite honest. And what this does, it has a special effect where if you were to receive an incoming damage that would kill you, you would get another life. And you would recover by 5 HP, curing any poison or venom in the process. And that's interesting. It's also filthy. Okay, I don't like the idea of something bringing you back to life when your opponent has definitely earned the kill. I don't want my opponent to have a second chance at life. We all are mortal. We don't have a second chance at life, and this game is fictional, but yet so freaking addictive, and I want it to be just like real. Okay, we just don't need this Amulet of Souls, so please, JaGex, don't bring this in the game. We don't need an extra life, and these stats are crazy. I mean, this would just be worn by everybody. The caveat is this would have a 15-minute cooldown, but it doesn't matter. You could successfully find a fight in, like, say, PvP worlds every 15 minutes and just sort of AFK and wait it out. That would be the way to go for your KD ratio. If you don't care, you don't care. But anyways, that's how I would think of it. We just don't need something like that, okay? Moving on to the second, the Thaw Potion. Okay, this Thaw Potion, you're going to be able to supplementally drink it before you get binded, and it's going to protect you against binding spells for like 2 minutes, I believe. No, it grants you immunity for only 10 seconds, so that's not bad. But we still don't need this in the game, okay? We don't need a potion that grants immunity from binding. I mean, I guess we could kind of benefit if we go deep wildy, but obbies don't go deep wildy, and the people that go deep wildy deserve to be binded. You know what I mean? They deserve it. They're there. We need to kill them. Anyways, third option, or third item that they're proposing after this is a new left-click teleport that's going to be a one-click tele at 30 and below wilderness. And it's going to be kind of like a Grand Seed pod made for this minigame, but no quest locks, right? So it's going to be accessible to all now. So I'm thinking Chin Hunters are going to use this. I'm thinking anybody in the Rev Caves are going to use this. So it's actually really quite handy that you don't have to, do Monkey Madness 2 to unlock the Grand Seed pod. This is going to be a completely cool thing. Will obbies use it? Probably not, but I'm still going to get mine. It'll be nice to have, It'll be nice to have. But that's all that we know for now in the current laid out proposal. What I have witnessed on Twitter and on the live stream is actually a couple things, right? So Aiza was supposed to come in and answer questions today on the live stream, and we were, not fortunate enough to have him. He was, he didn't attend it. So JaGex Ash actually sat in, and he answered what he could about the questions. And from what I could gather, he didn't quite know how to answer all of the questions, but there was one stark question that I paid attention to, and that there was a user that was questioning the stat lineup, the base stats where you pick your primary and your secondary stats, and they go, why don't we just go off the common builds of the game, like pures, zerks, mains, and just call it a day. But why don't we rotate them so every week it's fresh? So everybody that's participating in this PvP arena gets to try out the different builds. I love this idea, and this was actually one of the ideas that I helped propose to JaGex Aiza myself on Twitter, and it took off. There were a lot of people that were in favor of it. There's a lot of people that says, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we want this to be a refreshing minigame where it's not stale every week, where it just rotates, kind of like the PvP rota, but in a weirdly cool way, right? There's so many limitless options to this. They can add an obby mode where it's just, kind of like two obbies going at it with the same stats. That's kind of cool. And you can climb rank that way. And then, a pure mode where you have like hybrid. And then Zerk mode, hybrid with 45 defense. Mains with hybrid with 99 defense. That sort of speak. And just rotate those around and add in more, builds. I think that would be kind of fun. They could also scrap the entire, stat line and just have people set stats and go off of like combat level. Similar combat level has worked in the past, and I don't think that would be too harsh on the queues. Given their limitations, we don't know what they are, but I think that would be kind of cool. That's just my thought, to just go off the combat levels. Maybe plus or minus 10 or plus or minus 15 like we have in PvP Worlds, and just have people go in with their desired stats. Let them pick the stats like in a private world. Something like that. Anything but the proposal with the primary and secondary. That's just, that meta is going to be figured out so quickly on the first day. It's going to be stale for the rest of history. We don't need another bolt ragging minigame. We don't need another, very toxic minigame where it just doesn't challenge your skills enough. We want to have options as players. We want it to be as realistic as possible when it comes to PvP. That's really it. So, but in conclusion, there's a lot of things that JaGex needs to do to make this efficient, make this worth playing, and make everybody happy. And that's to address AHK, address clienting, address cheating in that regard. We don't want to face these automatrons. We want to actually test our own skill, and we want everybody else to piss off that's going to use those clients, all right? Piss the fuck off. Get away from my minigame, because this is my minigame. I want to be tested, all right? So there's still a lot of work to do. They haven't really come out with a proposal to combat that, and that's quite saddening, but it's the sad truth. So I'm going to remain optimistic on this, and we're going to leave it in the hands of JaGex for another time. And this is seriously the most exciting thing that we've ever seen come out of PvP in like 4 years, right? So stay tuned. If there's anything else that comes out, I will be on it. And I want you guys to have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Peace.